Ageism is destroying Gen Z. We got another one from Antonio Talks. Let us see what he has to say.
So recently, me and my girl decided that we wanted to take our kids to the trampoline park. For reference, I'm 24 and she is 25. We have 3 kids together. Damn, I know. We have twins that are 2 years old, and then we have a 9-month-old baby boy. And this is the video of them. This was like last week for Halloween. They were the minions. Anyways, prior to us getting to the trampoline park, in my mind, I was like, bro, I'm not finna be jumping on no trampoline, man. I'm too old for that, bro. That's some little kid activity. But when we ended up getting there, my girl suggested that, I go jump with them. I was like, cool. How about I had the time of my life? I think I had more fun jumping on them trampolines than they did. And while doing this, it just unlocked the inner child in me. I was like, why is it that when we get older, you can't have fun anymore? I'm a part of Gen Z, and it's like the older you get, the more miserable you're supposed to be. You can't play the game, you can't go out and have fun. Everything is labeled, you're too old to be doing it. Most of my peers feel like we're supposed to have our life figured out at 21, 22, 23, 24. Like, you feel me? It's absurd. And
you know what it is? Yeah, I agree, because at the end of the day, one thing I always say to people around me is that when you get past around 21, in my personal experience, especially as a man, everyone expects you just to have everything sorted. Do you know what I mean? They expect you to not necessarily complete life, but start operating automatically as if though a grown man would, to take full responsibility, which of course you need to have no one to rely and depend on, etc. And it gets a bit, it is a lot, man. It's a lot. I can't lie to you, because when you go from, for example, let's say when you're a younger, of course you have your parents to rely on, etc. When you start getting to 18, that's when eventually they start pushing you out into the world and being like, okay, cool, you need to be your own independent man, etc., which is totally understandable. By the time it's 21, from my experience, that's it. Like, it's all gun blazing and go out into the world and figure it out. And that's the reason as to why a lot of guys, I would say, are going through a lot of anxiety, depression, etc. Because a part of me, I'd say, especially the old version of me, would definitely say that, look, as a man, you just basically got to get up. You got to go get it. You got to basically make the most out for yourself. And I still believe that to an extent. But at the same time, there is an importance of having some sort of system to navigate whatever's going on. Because, for example, back then, yeah, that's the thing that I don't enjoy about the older generation. They're always talking about the younger generation, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they're rubbish, they're doing this, and all sorts of things that they basically use to kind of bastardize the younger generation. Then I basically turn around to them and be like, okay, cool, what did you guys actually do for the younger generation? What game did you give to us? Like, in reality, whatever you lot did, all it did was just basically trickle down into us, man. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's one of those ones where everyone has to take some sort of accountability when it comes to this and understand that us, man, are actually living the same way I said probably in one of my last videos, that we're living the best times ever when it comes to financially. Like, there's so much opportunity with the internet, etc. At the same time, we're living in one of the most hardest times as well, because it's not necessarily physically, financially, or, materially hard. Of course, there's people suffering, etc. But I'm talking in the grand scheme of things in the first world country. But now it's more so spiritually and mentally. Like, people are going through it, bro. They're going through it. It's a case of, again, when you're over consuming social media, you're learning in real time from people that are strangers on the internet. Do you know what I mean? And some people have a lot of game. Like, I listen to people like, there's a guy that I've been listening to recently called Psych Hacks. Like, he talks about human psychology, he talks about masculinity, he talks about how to basically deal with ladies, their femininity, etc. And there's a bunch of other people. Jason Wilson's another example, etc. But on the other hand, you got a lot of people that make a bunch of content talking nonsense, you know what I mean? And it goes back to this rhetoric of, as soon as you get to 21, everyone expects you to basically be grown and do this and have everything figured out. Back then, even the parents and all these older guys are saying at 21, you had to have this figured out and this and that. From when I asked these guys certain questions, yes, they may have had, I don't know, they may have moved into their own accommodation. They may have had a car by then. They may have done this and that. But they also had a lot of assistance from their parents. They also had a community that was a support system. They also had different people that they can go to and lean on in times of difficulty. They also had, all sorts of things that us man simply don't have right now. Do you get what I'm saying? So, and also the biggest thing as well, inflation wasn't a thing. So let's say, for example, to purchase a house was significantly cheaper. You could have your whole life figured out. You could, as a man back then, be 21, have a missus, have a kid, and have a house, have a car, everything like that, from literally just saving up for maybe 1 or 2 years. Now, what you like, most people are never gonna be able to afford just in general. Do you know what I mean? So times have completely changed. So I agree with what he says, but it's interesting, man.
As I'm watching my kids grow up and get older, I watch them play. I watch how they interact and just live. They stay in the moment. They have fun. They free. And it's like, as you get older, you lose that sense in yourself of just being a free human being. I don't want to get all woke on y'all, but just the way they indoctrinate us with this 9 to 5, going to work, going to school, come home, you know, it's like it's you see how trapped we are and how it just takes away how life is supposed to be lived.
You can't be 23 going to Halloween parties, bro. I'm just gonna keep it real with you.
Shout out to Purpose Driven, man. He's another guy that I really rate. Can't lie.
There comes a time in your life where you gotta step aside and recognize that you getting older. You popping up to these parties and you looking like Batman. You looking like the Joker.
Man, that shit
You feel
cool.
what I'm saying?
Fuck
It's
that.
like, you 23 though, bro.
20.
I don't know. That's what I think, bro. Past 23, it's a problem.
Why? 23, young as hell.
And that's the craziest thing, because when I speak to the older lot as well, a lot of them say that, look, even up until the point where you're like 35, in reality, you're young, bro. Do you know what I mean? So you have a lot of time to have fun and this and even though majority of the time I do agree with Purpose Driven Man, because bro has a lot of game, man. A lot of game. I love everything that he's talking about. And I lean more towards that because even me, in my own personal life, I'm a bit more, you could say, advanced for my age, a bit more mature. I like to lock in. I don't really like going out and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like, you can't necessarily completely knock people that want to do that because they're still young. The only thing that I personally knock and I talk about is that when you're the type of person to say, look, you want better for yourself and you want to, build a business, you want to become 6 figures or 7-figure earner, etc., and you're out messing about and you're doing this and doing that and having no time, right, for your business and for your future goals when you're out here just basically messing about. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like it all comes down to balance. You can have fun, but at the same time, prioritize obviously advancing yourself and spending these years doing everything in your power to basically make sure that when you're older, you're good for it. But you don't have to sacrifice fun and sacrifice your youth as a result of you basically wanting to get serious, you know what I mean? Because look at the older lot, the older generation, you be seeing them doing some funky stuff and you're just realizing, oh, it's probably because they miss being young again. Do you know what I mean?
Bro, as I get older in my 20s, I realize how young I was. You know what I'm saying? I'm still young.
I think when my recent birthday, that's when I realized, okay, I'm still young. Do you know what I mean? Like, I still got a bit of time.
23, bro? 5 years ago, you were just in school. Shit, you probably just graduated college. 23? Damn. Niggas can't have no fun. Oh my God.
The reason I said that is because I went to college. I'm 22. I went to college.
And
18.
I mean, he looked about, he about damn near 30. Maybe it's just the beard, but bro, the more youthful you live your life, the younger you gonna look.
First off, I'm not a partier, so maybe I don't know about the party scene, bro.
I'm not a party either, but I don't.
I always been on my grind. I never really was one to party.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
When you got a beard, bro, and you dressing up and you trying to get drunk and you trying to catch girls.
Okay.
At a Halloween party, bro, it's like, come on, man. Like sometimes, bro, when does the grown man gene kick in?
And that's the problem, bro. What is considered grown? My definitions of grown: making sure your bills are paid, making sure your kids are fed, making sure your kids are in have a roof over their head. Now, it is some deadbeat people, deadbeat mothers, deadbeat fathers that be partying and doing all this and their kids looking like, it is some people like that. But then you have others that have their priorities in check and then they still can have fun. Like he stated, he's not the partier type. I'm not the partier type either. But if that's the way you choose to have your fun, then that's cool. Maybe if you're, 40, 50 plus, still trying to go and dibble into these type of activities, then it could be a problem. But then again, who am I to judge somebody at?
I think the argument here is just literally about maturity, man. I don't think it's a case of ageism and like hating getting older. I think the issue that us men have is that we can't compartmentalize. So basically what that means is that we can't separate things. We always believe that everything just always black and white and there's no gray area, there's no room for error, there's no room for, adjustment kind of vibe. Because you can be an old guy or older guy and still be youthful. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily take away from your maturity. Of course, you're not just going to be out here. I expect like the older that the man them get as well, like try not to be out here with multiple ladies and this and that. It just causes drama. You need to be in your bag, make sure your bills are paid and this and that. But that's maturity though. That's maturity, that's discipline. You can have that from a younger standpoint. Do you know what I mean? You can have that at a younger age. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily, age doesn't define maturity. Age is literally just a number. Do you get what I'm saying? Outside of that though, again, there's a balance and you need to have a bit of fun. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're in a place like London, yeah. Oh God, man, this place is depressing sometimes. You feel me? So you need to have some sort of recreational activity. Maybe if partying isn't your thing, because obviously partying after a while gets a bit, yeah, it's not really much to do there. It's not like the old school generations where you could even go to a party and even dance and that. Like, bro, you can't even dance anymore. Someone will snap you and be like, oh, look at this guy. Do you know what I mean? So if it's not parties and this and that, maybe it's picking up a combat sport. Maybe it's traveling. Maybe it's doing all sorts of things that, do you know what I mean? So there needs to be some sort of balance. It can't just be always black or always white. There needs to be some middle ground. And I always encourage that for me and Amanda.
40, 50 years old. As I'm getting older, I'm just understanding, bro, life is so fragile. People be passing away at a snap of a finger. So, you know, them being 40 and just making it to that age is a big accomplishment to them. So let them live that how they live it. You get what I'm saying? So many of my childhood friends done passed away before they even got 21, bro, 22, 25. Like, you know, I'm about to be 25 next year. I know so many people that didn't make it to that. And it's like, damn, bro, you just see how precious life is, and the way people want to live their life is the way they want to live it. Who are we to judge them, you know? I'm the type of person that always want to be on my P's and Q's. I try to make sure I got everything in order before I do have fun. I feel like work hard, play hard, you know? I think that goes hand in hand. But in America, while chasing this American dream, man, it can burn you out. I'm talking about it can just leave you without a soul. So when people want...
And it's facts, bro, because even, for example, last year while I was in property, right? Bro, all I was doing was grinding, man. Like, I was just grinding, bro. All day, every day, 7 days a week, work. And it got to a point where, bro, there'll be days where I'll wake up and I'll be like, oh my God, like what is life? Do you know what I mean? Yes, you're making money. Yes, you're doing this and doing that, but you're just thinking to yourself like, bro, like, this is what I signed up for. It's not really a vibe. And the funny thing is, yeah, this is a hack I want to tell you guys, yeah. When you speak to people that are actually affluent, yeah, and have some sort of wealth, yes, they work extremely hard, but at the same time, they play hard as well. You know, they have moments in a day, or moments in a week, or moments in a month that they seclude themselves. They have a bit of time. Maybe for some people, a lot of them are in the gym, for example. I know someone's going to be like, oh, the gym ain't fun. The gym's fun, bro. Like, when you start getting better at lifting and stuff like that, the gym's fun. You get it? But outside of that anyways, a lot of these guys, that's the reason why they're always traveling. They take some sort of vacation just basically to unwind from work and that. Some of these guys, they're always getting massages and stuff like that. Some of these guys, they're always... That's the reason why you always see like a lot of Caucasian people in London anyways, always like in the pub and stuff like that, or they're always out and about and doing this, especially on the weekends. Now, the thing, it always comes down to balance. You need to make sure in the times that you're awake and the times that you're dedicating towards your work and towards your business, you're doing your thing. You're actually making sure that you're actually putting in the work. Because you know there are ones where you're spending 8 hours on a task when in reality, you know you can do it in 2 with just short focused work, you know? You need to make sure that you're focusing on the work and making sure that you're actually doing it properly. You're putting quality into that. You get it. Now, when it comes to playing, you also want to make sure that the play doesn't affect your work at the same time. So it all comes down to balance. But my people, then outside of that, let me know what you think down in the comments below, man. I'm going to leave the link below. I'll always credit the creator. So always go to the comments, scroll all the way down to the bottom. It's usually there. Before someone comes and is like, oh, why didn't you leave the link to the original video? I always do so. Do you get it? But outside of that, my people, then make sure to like the video because it boosts up in the algorithm. If you want to work with me one-on-one, I help entertainers build cash flow businesses. Literally just click the link down below as well. Outside of that, make sure to subscribe because we always react to things that are either hot topics or we react to things that actually is going to move the needle forward in our own life within the black culture or within our community as well. Outside of that, my people, then I'll see you tomorrow.